Welcome back to the coin world, old coin review and value. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most intriguing and valuable modern pennies ever minted, the 1990 to Liberty Lincoln penny. You may have one sitting in your pocket change and not even know it could be worth thousands of dollars. 1990 to Lincoln penny might seem like any ordinary 1-cent coin, but there's a rare and fascinating version known as the close AM variety that collectors are desperately hunting. Before we get into the rarity and the value, let's rewind the clock and explore the rich history behind the Lincoln penny and the story that led to the 1992 series becoming legendary in the coin collecting world. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real, historical figure designed by Victor David Brenner. The original Lincoln penny featured the iconic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, known as the wheat ears design. In 1959, to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, created by Frank Gasparro. This design was used until 2008. The Lincoln Memorial reverse is the design found on the 1990 to penny, which forms the basis for one of the most well-known and valuable mint errors in modern coinage. Throughout the years, the Lincoln penny has remained a cultural symbol and a staple of American currency, produced in billions annually. Despite its commonality, some minting quirks and transitional errors have made specific Lincoln pennies highly collectible, and 1992 is one of those years. In 1992, the U.S. Mint was in the process of refining die designs and preparing for upcoming changes for the 1993 penny, particularly in the reverse spacing of the letters and in America. What emerged from this transitional period was a variety known as the 1990 to close AM, which should have only appeared in 1993. This rare error is what makes the 1992 Lincoln penny so desirable. On most 1990 to Lincoln pennies, there is a clear space between the and the M in the word America. On the reverse side, this is known as the wide AM. However, in the close AM version, the two letters are nearly touching, a design intended for later years, but accidentally used early during the 1990 to minting process. The mistake went unnoticed for years, with the first discovery of a 1992 close AM penny not reported until 2001. Nearly a decade later, this delay made the 1990 to close AM even more exciting for collectors, as the variety is incredibly difficult to find in circulation. The 1992 Lincoln pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D Mint Mark, and San Francisco S Mint Mark for proof coins. The 1990 to close AM error has been confirmed in both Philadelphia 1990 to close AM and Denver 199 to D close AM issues. Of these, the 199 to D close AM is the rarest, with
Flip the coin to its reverse and carefully examine the spacing between the and the M in the word America. If the letters appear to be nearly touching or have virtually no space between them, you might have a close AM. Additionally, check the initials FG for Frank Gasparro near the base of the memorial. On close AMS, the initials appear farther from the building compared to wide AM is. You may need a magnifying glass or microscope to make an accurate identification, especially if the coin is your penny. Could be a jackpot. So, how much is a 1990 to close AM penny worth? In high grades, these coins can sell for thousands of dollars. 1199 to D close AM penny graded MS64, read by PCGS, sold at auction for a whopping $20. 700 in 2012. Another 1992 close AM from Philadelphia in similar condition fetched over $8,000, even in lower grades, such as O about uncirculated or XF extra fine. Close AM varieties can still be worth hundreds or even thousands. This makes checking your 1992 pennies not only fun but potentially very profitable. The rarity stems from the incorrect use of a proof reverse die in circulation strike coinage. These dies were supposed to be exclusive to proof coins minted in San Francisco, but somehow found their way into the production lines at Philadelphia and Denver. Since minting dies wear out quickly, the mistake was likely corrected after just a small batch of coins was struck. That's why only a handful of 1992 close AMS exist today, making them true modern rarities. This combination of accident, low survival rate, and collector demand creates the perfect storm for value. The discovery of the 1992 close AM sparked greater interest in Lincoln cent varieties and led to increased scrutiny of modern pennies. Collectors began checking 1993 and 1998, 2,000 pennies for similar spacing errors, discovering other close and wide AM mismatches. This movement also increased awareness of minting techniques and the value of minor design differences. Many collectors now actively search their pocket change and bankrolls for close AM errors, especially from the 1990s. The 1992 close AM remains one of the most elusive finds in that treasure hunt, prized for both its scarcity and the thrill of the search. If you're a collector or even a casual enthusiast, now is the perfect time to go through your 1992 pennies. Remember to check carefully, use a magnifier, and look at both the spacing of America and the FG initials. Even worn examples can be worth hundreds, and a mint state version might fund your next vacation or a lifetime of collecting. The 1992 Liberty Lincoln penny proves that even modern coins can hold incredible historical and monetary value. The 1982 Liberty 5-cent coin, better known as the Jefferson nickel. You might have some in your pocket change, but did you know certain 1982 nickels can be worth thousands? Before we dive into the value, let's step back in time to understand the origins of the Jefferson nickel itself. Introduced in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel, a beautiful but notoriously difficult coin to strike. The Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson was selected in a national design competition. His image of Jefferson remained on the obverse of the nickel for more than 6 decades. The reverse of the coin, featuring Monticello Jefferson's iconic home, also remained a fixture, although it underwent minor adjustments over the years. Fast forward to 1982. This year was a transitional period for the U.S. Mint, and not just for nickels. In fact, across several denominations, major composition and minting process changes occurred. For the penny in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from 95% copper to a zinc core with copper plating. But what about the 5-cent coin? It retained its composition 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, but changes in die quality and minting precision made some 1982 nickels particularly interesting. The 1982 nickel was minted at 2 facilities, Philadelphia no mint mark, and Denver marked with a D. Both produced circulation and uncirculated coins. Total mintage was massive, over 1.1 billion combined between both mints. But rarity is not always about quantity. It's about quality and mistakes. This year, die wear and misalignments led to some notable mint errors. Some 1982 nickels feature off-center strikes, double dies, or weak strikes due to worn dies. One of the most sought-after errors is the 198D nickel with full steps on Monticello. The full steps detail indicates a well-struck reverse and is considered a sign of high quality. Full steps coins are graded highly by collectors and can fetch prices far exceeding their face value, often hundreds of dollars, sometimes even thousands in high grades. The presence of full steps is crucial in grading Jefferson nickels. These steps, ideally 5 or 6 distinct lines, can only be seen on coins with sharp strikes. The Denver Mint struggled with sharp details in the early 80s, making full steps on 198D nickels especially rare. Philadelphia Mint coins also face grading scrutiny. Since Philadelphia coins had no mint mark until 1980, 1982 was only the 3rd year they carried the P mark on nickels. Interestingly, the 1982 P nickel with full steps is slightly more common than its Denver counterpart, but still commands impressive prices. Another area of interest is double die obverse DD and reverse DDR errors. These occur when the coin is struck with a die that had been impressed more than once, slightly misaligned. While not officially listed for 1982 Jefferson nickels, some collectors report possible DDO varieties on the date and lettering. Off-center errors, where the design is struck away from the center of the coin, are also collected, especially when the date is visible. These are more aesthetic and vary in value. Another collectible error is the clipped planchette, where part of the coin is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press. Coins with planchette cracks or lamination flaws are also found occasionally in the 1982 run, especially in lower quality rolls. Grading plays a significant role in valuation. A 1982 nickel in mint state, 65 condition with full steps can sell from $100 to over $1,000. NIS 67 full steps coins, certified by NGC or PCGS, are among the most valuable examples. They're incredibly rare, with only a few known for each mint. Proof. Versions of the 1982 nickel were not made, as no official proof sets were issued that year. This boosts demand for high-grade business strikes. Let's not forget coin rolls and mint sets. Original bankrupt. Rolls from 1982 are prime hunting grounds for error and full-step coins. So how do you tell if your 1982 nickel is valuable? First, examine it under a 10x magnifier. Look for full steps, sharp details, and any doubling in the lettering. Use a scale to ensure weight is correct. 1982 nickels should weigh about 5 grams. Any major deviation might indicate a minting anomaly. Check for signs of damage. Versus true mint errors. Post-mint damage reduces value significantly, even if the coin looks unusual. Collectors seek raw examples for albums, but graded examples in slabs are the gold standard. For serious investment, auction sites like Heritage Auctions or eBay can show recent sale prices, helping gauge your coin's market value. Some standout sales include a 1982D nickel graded MS67FS that sold for over $1,500 due to its immaculate strike and rarity. In comparison, a worn 1982 nickel from Pocket Change is usually worth face value unless it hides a key error or sharp strike. Coin shows and numismatic clubs often have collectors searching for elusive full-step varieties of common dates like 1982. The Jefferson nickel series, though often overlooked, has grown in popularity due to the full steps, designation and affordability of most dates. For budget collectors, assembling a full run of Jefferson nickels including 1982 is a rewarding challenge. For advanced collectors, focusing on high-grade, full-step varieties adds depth and long-term value too. Their sets dot the legacy of the 1982 Liberty 5-cent coin ties into a broader story of American coinage evolution from design shifts to technological improvements. The 1973 Liberty Lincoln penny, a humble coin that could be worth up to $125,000, depending on rarity, condition, and unique errors. This isn't just a 1-cent coin. It's a piece of American heritage minted in the shadows of war, economic turbulence, and numismatic evolution. So let's dive into the full story of this seemingly ordinary penny that may just be hiding in your pocket or collection. To understand the 1973 Lincoln penny, we must first journey back to 1909, when the Lincoln cent was first introduced to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was a revolutionary design, breaking tradition by placing a real person's portrait on U.S. coinage. Sculptor Victor David Brenner designed the obverse, which still graces the penny today. By 1973, the design had evolved only slightly. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 by Frank Gasparo to honor Lincoln's lasting legacy. 1973 came at a pivotal time in American history, a post-Vietnam, post-civil rights America, facing inflation, political scandal, and economic shifts. Coin production had to keep up with growing demands, while also considering costs. The mint remained focused on balancing quality, demand, and cost-effectiveness. The 1973 Lincoln penny continued with the copper-based composition used since 1960 to 95% copper and 5% zinc. The U.S. Mint produced this coin at 3 major locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each with its own identifying mint mark. Philadelphia coins bear no mint mark, Denver coins have a D, and San Francisco's proof coins display an S under the date. In 1973, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies, but only a fraction have survived in pristine condition today. The Philadelphia Mint struck around 3.9 billion Lincoln cents, making them the most common of the 3 varieties. The Denver Mint minted approximately 3.5 billion, while the San Francisco Mint produced about 2.7 million proof coins. Proof coins were not meant for circulation. Instead, they were specially made for collectors with high quality finishes and extra detail. Though all these coins are similar in appearance, condition, mint mark, and errors drastically affect their value. The 1973 Lincoln penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, the word liberty, the year 1973, and the national motto, "In God We Trust." The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America, et pluribus unum, and the denomination 1 cent. In proof coins, the strike is sharper, and the background appears mirror-like, while the design is frosted for contrast. Some 1973 Lincoln pennies have sold for thousands of dollars, not because they are made of gold or silver, but because of rare mint errors. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die-obverse DDO, where letters and numbers. Collectors use the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70, to determine a coin's grade and value. Grades like MS65, MS to 67, and PR69 for proof coins are highly desirable due to their near-flawless surfaces and full details. Certification companies like PCGS and NGC play a vital role in determining authenticity and value. A penny graded by PCGS as MS67 red is significantly more valuable than one graded MS65B and brown. Red coins, those that retain their original mint luster, fetch higher premiums than toned or brown coins. The 1973 Lincoln penny represents more than currency. It represents a shift in American values during a decade of change. Collectors appreciate it for its availability, design continuity, and potential hidden rarities. Even common circulated coins hold sentimental and educational value, especially for beginners entering the hobby. It's often used in penny albums, coin boards, and educational displays. Its story is still being written as new varieties and errors are discovered every year. The value of a standard circulated 1973 penny is around 1 to 5 cents, depending on condition. However, uncirculated red coins can fetch $10 to $50 or more on collector marketplaces. Proof coins in perfect condition can reach $100 to $1,500, particularly if they have deep cameo contrast. Error coins, especially those authenticated by grading agencies, can command thousands, even tens of thousands. In known 1973 Lincoln cent sold for $125,000. Due to its ultra-rare off-metal error, a transitional planchet mix-up, you can still find 1973 pennies in circulation. Piggy banks, or old rolls of coins, estate sales, flea markets, antique shops, and coin shows are great places to look for unsearched rolls or collections. Always carry a magnifying glass and study the date, mint mark, and surface details carefully. Roll searching, especially through older bank rolls, can still yield high-grade or error 1973 pennies. To maintain value, store your coins in acid-free flips, coin capsules, or albums. Avoid cleaning your coins, as this can reduce their numismatic value significantly. Use gloves when handling valuable specimens, and avoid touching the coin's surface. Did you know the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse actually shows a tiny statue of Lincoln between the pillars? This was the first U.S. coin to feature a building and a human figure at such a microscopic scale. The 1973 Lincoln -1 is also one of the last before talks of composition changes due to rising copper prices. Though often overlooked, the 1973 Lincoln penny holds a firm place in numismatic history. It reflects a nation still honoring its 16th president while adapting to modern minting challenges. Collectors of all levels appreciate it for its balance of accessibility and hidden treasures. Its continuing relevance proves that even the most common coin can hold exceptional value. The 2000 Liberty Quarter Dollar. While many collectors chase after centuries-old coins, some gems lie hidden among more recent issues, and the 2000 Liberty Quarter is a perfect example. At first glance, this quarter seems like any other in circulation, but its story, origin, design evolution, and potential value make it a fascinating addition to any collection. The year 2000 marked a major milestone in U.S. coinage history, the third year of the wildly popular 50 State Quarters program. The 50 State Quarters program began in 1999, aiming to release 5 unique state-themed quarters each year through 2008. The 2000 quarters included Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, and Virginia, all distinct in their artwork and symbolism. But what about the name, Liberty Quarter? It actually refers to the obverse, the front of the coin, which still bore the iconic image of George Washington, along with the word liberty. This portrait of Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932, remained untouched through the early years of the State Quarter series. The word liberty remained boldly inscribed above Washington's head, making the coin immediately recognizable as a continuation of America's quarter tradition. What sets the 2000 Liberty Quarter apart isn't just its state design, but also some of the rare errors and die varieties that emerged during its production. Coins from the year 2000 were struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. The San Francisco Mint produced both clad-proof and silver-proof versions of the state quarters for collectors. These proof coins, especially the silver versions, are highly valued for their clarity, mirror-like finish, and limited mintage. The real story lies in the unexpected, like the famous mule error that occurred in 2000. A mule is a coin struck with mismatched dies, like a quarter with a dollar coin reverse or vice versa. In the year 2000, a handful of quarters were struck using the obverse of a Washington quarter and the reverse of a Sacagawea dollar. This mistake created one of the most sought-after modern U.S. coins, a genuine U.S. Mint error that has fetched tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Only about 19 of these mule errors are known to exist, making them ultra-rare and hugely valuable to collectors. While these are technically errors, they've become a vital part of the Liberty Quarter's legacy and lore. Beyond errors, the state designs themselves represent rich historical narratives and symbolic artistry. For example, the Virginia Quarter honors Jamestown, the first English settlement in America, with 3 ships featured on the reverse. New Hampshire's quarter showcases the Old Man of the Mountain, a natural rock formation that tragically collapsed just a few years after the coin's release. If you find a coin with signs of a missing clad layer, it may appear copper-colored on one side. This is a legitimate error that could be worth hundreds. Aside from errors, condition plays a massive role. Coins in mint state 67 or higher can fetch good money, especially if slabbed by a respected grading company. Coins straight from mint rolls or collector sets are your best bet for high-condition finds. Always store them properly to prevent wear or toning. The 2000 Liberty Quarter also serves as a cultural milestone. It reflects a national effort to engage Americans with their history and geography through everyday currency. It was part of a larger initiative by the U.S. Mint to revitalize interest in coins, and it worked. By 2001, over 140 million Americans were collecting quarters. The 50-state quarters program became the most successful numismatic program in U.S. history, boosting coin collecting into mainstream popularity. The designs from 2000 are also deeply educational. They introduced millions to state symbols, nicknames, and pivotal historical moments. For example, the Virginia Quarter taught many about the 1607 founding of Jamestown, often overlooked in American history curricula. Collectors also value complete sets. A full-year set of all 5,000 quarters in proof or mint state condition is both beautiful and potentially profitable. Silver-proof sets, especially with original packaging, remain popular among investors due to their metal content and collectible value. The sentimental value also matters. Many people remember collecting the state quarters with parents or grandparents during road trips or vacations. This nostalgia fuels continued demand for these coins, especially as younger collectors inherit or rediscover old family coin sets. Let's not forget how these coins inspired state pride. Citizens of each state celebrated their turn in the spotlight and eagerly awaited their coin's release. There are also coin albums, specifically made for the 50-state quarters program, allowing collectors to organize by state, year, and mint mark. As the 2000 Liberty Quarters age, their rarity and desirability increase, particularly in uncirculated and certified conditions. They also provide an affordable entry point for new collectors. Most circulated 2000 quarters are still worth face value, making the hunt low risk and fun. However, as we've shown, the right error or condition can turn a common coin into a treasure. And that's the magic of numismatics. Over the years, many rare quarters have been discovered in pocket change, estate sales, or old jars. Yours might be next. If you suspect your 2000 quarter has value, consider submitting it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Even a small investment can pay off. You can also consult online coin communities or local dealers for initial opinions, but always do your research and get second opinions. Today we're unlocking the rich history of the 1989 Liberty Lincoln penny. You might think the 1989 penny is just another modern coin, but its historical background and collector interest make it much more valuable than it appears. Stick around as we take a 50-paragraph deep dive into the creation, design, errors, value, and fascinating journey of the 1989 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than an allegorical representation. The obverse side bore the iconic Portrait of President Lincoln, which remains essentially unchanged to this day. Over the decades, the reverse side of the penny has gone through several transformations. From 1909 to 1958, the penny featured wheat ears, commonly known as the wheat penny. In 1959, for Lincoln's 150th birthday, the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo replaced the wheat ears. This memorial reverse lasted until 2008, making the 1989 penny part of this historic design era. The obverse of the 1989 penny features Lincoln's right-facing bust with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1989. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly in the center, flanked by United States of America. Hidden within the Lincoln Memorial design is a tiny image of Lincoln's statue, visible under magnification and detail collectors appreciate. The coin's design honors both Lincoln's legacy and America's foundational values. 15. Its simplicity, symmetry, and symbolism make it a favorite among modern penny collector. The 1989 penny is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. This composition was introduced in 1982, replacing the previous bronze alloy due to rising copper prices. The coin weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters with a plain edge. The 1989 Lincoln penny was minted at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins bear no mint mark, while Denver coins carry a D mint mark under the year. The San Francisco mint struck proof coins only, which are highly polished and meant for collectors. In total, over 7 billion pennies were struck in 1989, making it one of the most produced coins of the decade. While common, mint state and error varieties make specific coins from this year stand out. Let's now explore some rare errors and varieties that make 1989 pennies incredibly valuable. One of the most popular is the double die obverse DDO, where the date, Liberty, or motto appears slightly doubled. Here's of the date, Liberty, or motto appears slightly doubled. Another notable error is the off-center strike, where the design is misaligned. Dramatic off-centers can fetch high prices. B errors: tiny die cracks between the B and E in Liberty. Also add collectible interest. Some 1989 pennies were struck on bronze plankets by mistake. These are extremely rare. These transitional errors are worth hundreds to thousands, depending on condition and weight. Always weigh your 1989 penny. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, it could be a bronze planchet error. Proof coins struck at San Francisco bear a mirror-like finish and a sharp S mint mark. 32. These were never released into circulation, but sold in collector sets. 1989s. Proof penny in perfect condition can be worth $10 to $50 depending on the market. Deep cameo strikes, where the design sharply contrasts the background, are especially prized. A coin's grade can drastically affect its value from circulated to mint state. MS60 to MS70 represent coins in near-perfect condition, with MS70 being flawless under magnification. High-grade 1989 pennies, especially with full red color, can sell for $100 or more at auction. 38. Always store your coins in proper holders to prevent oxidation and maintain grade. 39. While most 1989 pennies are worth face value, those with errors or high grades can fetch much more. For example, a 1989 penny graded MS68 Road sold for over $3,000 at auction. A 1989 penny struck on a dime planchet was once auctioned for over $2,500. Double dies, especially with strong doubling, have sold for $100, $500, depending on demand. Proof errors and rare strike varieties continue to command premium in prices online and at coin shows. The 1989 Lincoln penny holds nostalgic value for many who grew up in the late 80s and early 90s. Its accessibility and subtle variations make it an excellent entry point for new collectors. Seasoned numismatists hunt for mint state and error varieties, adding to the year's popularity. Whether you're a beginner or expert, the 1989 penny offers excitement in the hunt and potential value when sorting through 1989 pennies. Check for errors with a magnifying glass and weigh suspicious coins. Consider submitting high-quality coins to a grading service like PCGS or NGC to authenticate and boost value. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the Coins World.
Welcome back to the Coin World, Old Coin Review and Value. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most intriguing and valuable modern pennies ever minted. The 1990 to Liberty Lincoln penny. You may have one sitting in your pocket change and not even know it could be worth thousands of dollars. 1990 to Lincoln penny might seem like any ordinary 1-cent coin, but there's a rare and fascinating version known as the close AM variety that collectors are desperately hunting. Before we get into the rarity and the value, let's rewind the clock and explore the rich history behind the Lincoln penny and the story that led to the 1992 series becoming legendary in the coin collecting world. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real, historical figure designed by Victor David Brenner. The original Lincoln penny featured the iconic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, known as the wheat ears design. In 1959, to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, created by Frank Gasparo. This design was used until 2008. The Lincoln Memorial reverse is the design found on the 1990 penny, which forms the basis for one of the most well-known and valuable mint errors in modern coinage. Throughout the years, the Lincoln penny has remained a cultural symbol and a staple of American currency, produced in billions annually. Despite its commonality, some minting quirks and transitional errors have made specific Lincoln pennies highly collectible, and 1992 is one of those years. In 1992, the US Mint was in the process of refining die designs and preparing for upcoming changes for the 1993 penny, particularly in the reverse spacing of the letters and N in America. What emerged from this transitional period was a variety known as the 1990 to close AM, which should have only appeared in 1993. This rare error is what makes the 1992 Lincoln penny so desirable. On most 1990 to Lincoln pennies, there is a clear space between the and the M in the word America. On the reverse side, this is known as the wide AM. However, in the close AM version, the two letters are nearly touching, a design intended for later years, but accidentally used early during the 1990 to minting process. The mistake went unnoticed for years, with the first discovery of a 1992 close AM penny not reported until 2001. Nearly a decade later, this delay made the 1990 to close AM even more exciting for collectors, as the variety is incredibly difficult